Okay, so now, but actually, but that is a continuation about how a person protect his family from any harm, especially for his wife being Sunwa. The concept is a Goji concept. Unfortunately, this concept has penetrated even among the Jewish people because there's a pasuk that says we should not go achare chukat goyim, we should not follow their laws, and sometimes a person is in the community among the goyim, and unfortunately they picks up some of the bad cultures, bad habits, not even knowing it. And there's a Yesehara that this Yesehara is, unfortunately, I was introduced this concept many years ago with one of my friends when I was in New York. He said that some of the men they like to show off their women. He said that the same way that men like to show off their car, right? Some men they like to show off their women to their friends.
Their own wives.
Their own wives, yes. And saying that I like he wants this you see how pretty is my wife, and this concept. Yeah, this is what is going on already right now. This is the concept. Yeah, he read this Gemara.
My queen.
Yeah, exactly. You read this Gemara. Exactly what Dr. Yeshua is saying the concept is from going, right? And now you see like many going. You see a guy show up his car. He bragged about it and he says, "You can have a better car than you do. Look at this; it's the most advanced car. It's sporty, it's fancy. Shows it off." Unfortunately, they do the same thing with their wives. And unfortunately, I asked Robert Talley the other time, I'm asking, how come some of these people, some people, we already know, regarding the Panochri, there's a rabbi in Israel, I think it's Bebarak. Harav gave me his name, I don't remember offhand. He has given a prize for $100,000. $100,000, he says, anybody could prove to him that from Gemara there's any heter to wear panuchri. And he said, if you can show me from Gemara, because the whole, what we learn, right, all the halakha we do, halakha l'maaseh, you have to have makor. What's the makor? The origin of this halakha, you have to learn it, it has to come out from where? Gemara. I mean, you just can't come and say, I want to do this halakha. There is a source. The source in the Gemara. So he says, I give the prize of reward of $100,000 for any person, no matter who he is, how big time Chacham or small time Chacham, if he comes and proves with solid document from source from the Gemara that Nochri is mutar, is permissible, they're putting $100,000 to give to them.
Parnokli is what?
So it's a week, to wear a wig.
Oh, wear a wig.
To wear a wig, means wig. That if a woman, if there is a heter you could find from Gemara, they're going to give $100,000. And nobody has showed up. If they so that shows that there's a problem with this concept, because if there was they would pay $100,000, somebody would go a step forward and get $100,000 and they're ready to give, but there's no solid proof from Gemara anywhere, and this concept of Panuch, as I mentioned, it was time of Caesar in Russia, when he made a gezara that if they wear kisur rosh, they're going to kill married women. So at that time they gave what we call horat sha'ah. Horat sha'ah means they had to come up with a halachic decision for this emergency situation, and they gave them that at that time to wear a special wig that they look very ugly, right? And it would make the women more ugly than if the own kisur rosh that they had. And by doing so, they made sure that the Caesar is not going to touch the married women, Jewish married women in Russia, right? So the Gezerah was basically nullified after a while, but unfortunately, because it became like some kind of custom for them, and they basically having difficulty to let go of this not correct minhag, which is not minhag. It's just basically it was only for a certain time, certain type of weeks that were very ugly, and that's what it was. That's it. Nothing more than that. And that's after that they should have been could go back and cover their hair, and they didn't do it because they got used to that concept, and they basically were not. Nobody was able to put the food firmly to stop this habit of wearing wig, and then it became they built on it, and now unfortunately we see people that when they're walking around with the extremely beautiful wigs, and they say, well, our mother or grandma was wearing it, so we don't see nothing wrong, and if we don't wear it, we are chas v'shalom, we are insulting our parents or grandparents, but they should know there's no insult. They made a mistake, and minhag that is not good, right? Doesn't have a good solid source. Is a gematria gehenim. Minhag. So the person should be very careful to look at this very carefully and realize that this is an issue, and if a person I'm talking about not just a woman, wife, but even the husband encourages his wife to very kisui rosh, right? They get a big sechar because especially the situation when the other friends in the community are not are wearing wigs. They're like a Chacham ben Nadav, that he went first to the sea, and he was able to cause the Red Sea open up. They become like that kind of a statue, and it's very good. So we highly recommend anybody that can really find this true, because we are trying to fulfill the Hashem's will, and by doing so, we the big Kiddush Hashem for the community, for that family, and also Hashem gives them a big reward. So may Hashem give encouragement and koach for those people that want to seek for truth. Go and follow with our Chachamim. Right now, many of Poskim of Hador, especially Gedolim, they are against this Parnochri. In America, unfortunately, there are some they don't say anything about it, but in reality, this is a problem, and we should be rectified. So here we are going to talk about Gemara Megillah, this concept of unfortunately this part of Megillah has there are a couple of things in this Gemara that I want to talk about. One is the concept of the concept that a man has a yesahara to show off his wife. We learn from here. The second point is there's a concept of midah keged midah that we prove it very, very openly here in this Gemara.
Measure for measure.
Measure for measure. And the third thing is this measure for measure. It doesn't only apply to the Jews. It applies to the goyim. Even the goyim get that, right? It's not just for Jews. And you see that this measure for measure, right, could happen, cause a person, right, do things that is not logical. That to bring him to this measure to measure. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the fourth one. You might say what I'm talking about. I will tell you about and when Vashti basically put herself in a big danger by saying things that was not proper. We're going to see it, and Hashem put it in her mouth to put herself in danger. So they have to who wants to do when somebody does avera, Hashem puts on a person to say things to cause himself to get in big trouble, and we're going to see these points. So I'm going to try to go briefly over this Gemara. So it's third line from the bottom, right? So it says regarding the Mordechai Dichtiv, Ish Yehudi. He says Mordechai was a Jewish man. V'aman Dichtiv, Ish Sar B'Oyev. That he was a very enemy of the Jewish people, right? بگم وشتی همکا اصلا میشته نشیم سویتا کوسی که ما میگیلا از وشتی also میشته بیشتر ناشیم بيت ملخوت بيت Hanashim Mibaile. He should have said Beit Hanashim. Why he says Beit Nashim? So here he says a very interesting concept. Amar Rabba Shenehem Nidvar Avera Nitkavenut. Both of them they wanted to do Avera, which means she wanted to show herself like her beauty to the men, right? And he wanted to show off his wife. So from here, this is what you see that this is such a Sahara, right? That they I know the in shit. So people say Ihu Bakre Vitete Bibisine. So he says the man is like a pumpkin, right? And the wife is like a small big pumpkin and a small pumpkin. Okay, which means they both have the same mindset, right? And doing the same thing together. So both of them had a mindset to do Avera of in this regard. And he said beyond Hashivi, right? So here he talks about beyond Hashivi is midah can get measure for measure, right? Ketov lev hamelech beyain, when he was very drunk from drinking wine, right? Also at Hashtar Lotav Libe Bechamra. So the Gemara says this was the seventh day of the feast that Achashverosh was and had. So he says, "What? How come it's just talking about the seventh day? Why is that? What's so significant about the seventh day and versus the other days of this party, right?" Amar Rabba Yom Hashivi Shabbat Hayab. He says that seventh day it was a Shabbat, right? Now he tells you the difference between the Jewish people and the non-Jews, right? Israel שישראל אוכלים ושותים, מתחילים בדברי תורה ודברי תשבחות. On Shabbatot, the Jewish people, when they get drunk, right? They eat and they get drunk a little bit. What do? The first thing they do is they start talking about Torah and they praise Havosh Baruch Hu. Aval of the about the idol worshippers, right? Shochlim v'shotim en matchilim ella bedvar tiflut. But idol worshippers, when they get drunk, right? They talk nonsense about these things that are not sinut and all those kind of things. וכן בסעודתו של אותו רשע, הללו אומרים. So now same thing was in this Seudah. So this concept was going to say that a person should be very careful not to show up his wife. And say my wife has a partner free, is beautiful, I want to show her. You have to make sure his wife is very covered and concealed from the other man. And we have according to halacha, a person, let's say he really cares about, like, has a very close friend, right? And his wife, he wants to give respect to the friend's wife. He cannot say hi to your wife. He has to say hi to the family. He should be very, very careful not to even ask about his friend's wife. You should say hi to your family, Baruch Hashem, and that's it. You go that far, you have to do that particular and be very far away from your wife, from your friend's wife, because he said one of the Asur Dibur, he said what al tachmod b'sherecha. You should not covet your own friend's wife. So that's one of the Asur Dibrot. So and we have Gedarim, we have fences that Chachamim instituted that even talking to you're just trying to be respectful, right? One time I went to Ramatayani in the beginning I met him. So out of respect, I was wanted to say hi to Rabbanit. And the Rav said, don't say.
Regards to Rabbanit.
He said, don't say regard. He said to their heart. So he didn't. He told me, don't say. I was just want to say, just being polite to her and say hi, how are you? That's it. And Rav says, don't do that. Okay, and that's I cannot. According to halacha, right? You have to care. On the other hand, right? For the time of the Chachamim, they say The same way you respect the Talmidei Chachamim, you have to respect the wife. You have to, because they are the extension, right? But on the other hand, you have to be you have to say it in a very concealed way. You have to respect it in this way. Send my regard to your family, so that the family is also the wife is part of the family. So that's the way to do it. So here the Goyim, unfortunately, the Odei Kochavim, they have this Yesehara. What do they say? They say they want, not only they allow the person to talk to the wife, but they go to further. They want to show off their wives. And here now look at this what it says in Gemara here. So he says the Jewish people they get it wrong. They said Shirut Shpachah. They said about Torah, but Odei Kochavim they do the Tiflut. וכן בסעודה של אותו רשע, in the suit of that wicked person with Achashverosh, הללו אמרו מדיות נאות. So there was a discussion, and there were basically argument, big argument. If the women of the Midyot were prettier versus the Persian women. So that was the argument they had. So they say, אומרים מדיוד נאות, והלו אומרים פרסיות נאות. They said no.
That's Madai.
Yeah,
From
Madai.
Madai.
Yeah, Madai, yes. Yeah. So this is the country of Madai goes there, yeah. And Parsiot are Persian. So it says they were basically arguing, fighting about who is more prettier. That was which women, which wives are prettier. Not girls, the wives. That's what they were saying. So it says, آمر لهم اخشبروش کلی شنی مشتمش بو اینو لو میدای به پارسی my wife with the expression he was saying the wife that I have is not Parsi, is not Medai, Ela Kastaya, but he's from a Kastai, right? Resonchen Darota, do you want me to show off to show my wife to you? They said, yes, please. Wilvad Shete Aruma. But the only thing is, if you want to bring her over, please make sure she's all over naked. I mean, this is disgusting, but that was the whole conversation was going on in the party, right? So he said, why this came to the mind, and why he accepted is midah keg midah. Measure for measure, right? So Gemara said, what does it mean? Minamed shaita vashti harasha mebiyah b'bilod Yisrael peshetam aramod v'aseh bohem melacha b'shabbat. It shows that that Malka Vashti, he was bringing these Jewish girls that they were basically they were captives and whatever. They came to after the Churban Beit Rishon. They would bring them naked and serve the party, and also they would make sure they work through Shabbat. So that's why this whole thing happened on Shabbat, and that's why that's one reason. And also Hashem wanted to do midah k'neged midah, that because these Jewish girls they walk around naked in the parties, I'm going to make her to walk in to be walking in the party. Hainu the katib. After all these things that Achashverosh killed his own wife, the anger of Achashverosh was basically came down. He was no longer angry, and he remembered his own wife Ashti with Asher Asa, with Asher Nigzar Aleha. I remember what he did to her, and basically what Gezerah he put on her. Now he says, Keshem she'asa kach nigzar aleha, the same thing that what she did to the Jewish girl, right? The same thing happened to Midah, Keneged Midah, Mijay Keneged Midah. So even the Goyim, right? They eventually get to this thing. And Baruch Hashem, we saw one incident last week, Baruch Hashem Karibu, that the Nasi of Iran wanted to kill the Jewish people, and he killed some Jews. And Baruch who caused that incident, that this Nasi of Iran fall apart, and very suddenly, and Hashem caused that they would never have very bad intention towards Jewish people, and they just live peacefully among us. ותמאן המלכה, no, he said ותמאן המלכה Rashi. So now he goes back. He says when he requested her to. So first and foremost, I want you to, from this piece of Gemara, we see very obviously that there's such a Sahara for men to do this, and we shouldn't learn from the Chachamim to show off the wives. It's very it's black and white explicitly it's written here. Now the other part is we just learned that the last page we learned that both of them they want to do the Averah, right? So here is if it's Malka, but she refused to come. Vashti bikte Prisuta, who Prisuta have, right? She had Domale Shelehem Lidvar Avera Litkavenu. So he says because there was a Prisur, he didn't want to come. He says, what are you talking about? We just said that they want both of them. They wanted to do Avera, right? They had this Kawana also. How come they didn't come? My time what was the reason she didn't show up? Amar Yossi Bar Chananya Melamed Sheparcha Ba Sarad. That she had what? Sarad on her. Sarad is the leprosy. She had a leprosy on her, and because of leprosy, she was very embarrassed to come there. B'matita Tana Bar Gabriel Vasara Zanav, and then we said that she had a tail, right? So she was also have a tail on her. So she was so embarrassed to come and show herself, and the whole plan that Achashverosh had to show his wife, and she wanted to come and show herself, but basically it was nullified. The plan didn't work. So he said, "B'yichsav hamelech me'od." So he said the Melech became the king. The Achashverosh became very, very extremely upset and angered. Amad Darkabe Kulahai, why he was so angry. So the one says, now there's a story. I don't know if we have time to say this story in this thing, or should
Maybe the next one.
Next one, okay. So should I stop here and then go to the next one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.